Welcome to our slash reader of Reddit. In this episode, Op tells his mother to lawyer up. But before that, AITA for continue to wear makeup and dress in my normal style around a friend who thinks her husband has a crush on me. My 29F friend, 31F, has told me that her husband, 35M, has a crush on me and has recently told her that he fantasizes over me. This already makes me feel very awkward, but now she has asked if I can stop wearing makeup and wear baggy clothes around him. We went out for dinner last night at a reasonably expensive restaurant with a few others, 7 of us in total, and she texted me when I got home saying she was angry at me for looking hot after she asked me to not wear makeup. She's my friend and I want to do the right thing, but there's nothing I could wear that is baggy that would have suited the restaurant we were in, Michelin star. My style is very conservative, and I was wearing a very average dress with heels. I've written out several responses ranging from an apology to being quite rude, but wanted to sense-check my thoughts here before I go back to her. I don't want to make life difficult for her, but what she's asking for feels unreasonable. AITA? Edit 1. Thank you so much for all of your responses. It's 4:21 a.m. here in the UK, so I will write out and send a response tomorrow, and will update you all on here. Sorry I can't respond to everyone. I didn't expect so many responses. Edit 2. While I was reading your responses, he just liked an old Instagram pic from way back, bikini pic. He is now blocked. Final update. Edit 3. I responded with the following. Sorry it's taken me a while to reply, but I wanted to consider this properly and not react emotively. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I don't think it's fair or reasonable to ask me to change how I look because of your husband. My advice is to speak to husband's name and work on your relationship because projecting your issues onto me isn't going to help you, but it will damage our friendship. You have nothing to be insecure about. You're the most beautiful person inside and out I've ever met. I'm here for you if you want to talk through it, but ultimately, I can't help it if I'm smoking hot, just kidding. XXX. 5 minutes after I pressed send, she knocked on my door. She was already on her way, with a bunch of flowers, and cried and gave me a hug while apologizing. She told me they were having problems, and it was wrong of her to take it out on me. We've had a long chat, and I'm going to be there to support my friend. Thank you all for your input. You all helped so much. Next story is AITA for not paying for private school tuition for GF's special needs child. This is throwaway because everyone knows my main. The conflict is between me, 44M, and my girlfriend, 34F. My GF and I have been together for 5 years, living together for 2 years. She has a son, 12M, from a previous relationship. Her son has ASD. In my early 20s, I started a business with my best friend. It has done very well, and I am comfortable financially. I was previously married, and when I got divorced, X took more than her pound of flesh financially. So, when I got with my GF, I told her her expenses were her expenses, my expenses were my expenses, and we would never get married. She agreed and understood. My GF's son previously went to a local private school. This school provided lots of resources for kids with special needs. He thrived there. My best friend's kids go to the same school. They are not special needs, but the school is good overall regardless of that. My GF's son's tuition was paid for by his bio dad and GF's dad. Here is where I might be the AH. My best friend, a couple of years ago, was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer. He unfortunately died this past spring. I promised him I would look after his wife and kids. About a year ago, GF's ex, the bio dad, lost his job and can no longer contribute to tuition. GF's dad cannot cover it. Bio dad paid like 85%. So, GF's son is in public school right now and struggling. Meanwhile, I am paying the tuition for best friend's kids based on my promise to him. GF approached me and asked if I would contribute something so her son could go back to the school. I refused. She called me an AH because I am helping a woman who I am not in a relationship with while refusing to give her the exact same help. I see her point, but we had an agreement when we got together. AITA? Next story is AITA for not checking in on my ex and he nearly died. I, 35F, recently separated from my fiancé, 35M, due to his excessive drinking, but we're still close and regularly see each other. After taking him to the ER overnight, I brought him home, and he said he just wanted to chill solo, so I left. I attempted to message him, but didn't hear back. This is unusual for him, however, I wanted to respect his boundaries. Late that night, 10 p.m., my ex's mom woke me up calling to ask me to go over there and check on him. I had a key, and she doesn't. I declined to because I had just been woken up and figured that he was just ignoring both of us because he was drinking. And, to be frank, I'm sick of the drinking and having to care for him. I'm sick of begging him to do things like get out of a urine-soaked bed so I can try to get him clean and dry. I'm sick of the relentless drunk screaming and crying. I'm burnout. She ended up calling for a welfare check, and when the police came, he was drunk and severely ill. The doctor said he probably would have died if he hadn't been brought in that night. It was to the point that the hospital refused to release him when he tried to leave AMA and got the police and county attorney involved to force him to stay. His mom was pissed at me and refused to tell me, so I only found out a couple of days later that he is in the ICU on a ventilator. I feel incredibly guilty that had it been in my hands alone, someone I care about would be dead, so I came here to either relieve my guilt or be deservedly raked over the coals. Next story is AITA for calling my wife out for never doing the hard chores. My wife, 40F, and I, 39M, have been married for 7 years and have 2 kids, 4 and 2. We both work full-time, but have different schedules. I work a standard Monday-Friday 40-hour week. My wife's job requires her to work Saturdays, so she takes random days off during the week to compensate. Both our kids are in daycare during the week. When my wife takes a day off during the week, she will get chores done like cleaning, shopping, laundry, etc., which is great that she can get that stuff done on her off days. But these are things that can also be done on the weekend. She will leave other, more labor-intensive chores for me to do on the weekend. We have a 1-acre yard, so there is always yard work to be done. And it is nearly impossible for me to do that kind of work on Saturdays when she's at work and I have the kids. I've talked to her numerous times about doing yard work on her days off when I'm at work and the kids are in daycare. But she refuses because it's too hard, which yeah, I know. I'm the only one who does it. It's even harder when you're chasing around 2 kids. This means that I have to spend pretty much my entire Sunday doing yard work. Every single week. We've argued because she gets a work and kid-free day to herself to get things done. But she picks the easiest chores and leaves the hard ones for me to do on my one remaining weekend day. I work Monday to Friday, then have the kids by myself all day Saturday. I just want to spend some time on Sunday watching football and relaxing. But I can't because of the yard work. This past week, my wife took Thursday off and got some chores done. When I got home with the kids that night, she made some comments that pissed me off. She kept saying, "We still need to mow the lawn this weekend. We need to trim some bushes and trees and bring the brush to the yard waste site. I think we should rake up all the fallen pine needles and pine cones to use as fire starters." I snapped at her and asked her which of those things she was going to do, since she kept saying we. She got defensive and said that she is going to be watching the kids so that I can get that stuff done. I told her that I think she is using the word we incorrectly then because it sounds like I'm going to be the one doing all of it. She then went off about all the things she got done on her day off. When I told her that I could do all of those things on Saturday, even with the kids, but she refuses to do any of the hard stuff. I then asked her if she could tell me the last day she had the kids by herself when I wasn't home. She couldn't answer and called me a jerk. I told her if I can learn to fold a fitted sheet, then she can learn how to use a rake, a lawnmower, a weed whip, etc. I also told her that I am going to start planning things for myself on weekends so that I have my own time, even if it means hiring a sitter. She thinks I'm overreacting and expecting too much of her because the yard work is hard. Next story is AITA for refusing to hang up the artwork my girlfriend got me for my birthday. My 26M birthday was a few weeks ago. My girlfriend, 24, and her friend are into things that I find a little outlandish and weird. I love her and her uniqueness and I appreciate what she does, but I do think some of their habits and interests are unusual. We do not live together. She's made comments about how I need more artwork and I agreed. She got me artwork. A homemade piece of artwork that she was given the idea through TikTok or something. Her best friend also did the same thing for her boyfriend. The best I can describe it is like she made a print of her ass and legs/thighs on a canvas. It's like she sat in paint and then sat on the canvas. Or something like that. Honestly, it must have turned out really well because you can clearly tell it's an ass and legs. The problem just arose recently because she came over and found the painting in my closet. She asked why it's not up, and I tried to dance around it. I did tell her the truth that my parents stop by sometimes and I didn't want them to see it. She started telling me that the picture is beautiful and I should want to embrace her, and some more lines about how I should embrace our intimacy. I told her that honestly, I find it off-putting. I think it is weird and borderline creepy. I told her I am very uncomfortable hanging up something like that, and if she checked with me first, I would have told her. She asked if I truly wasn't going to hang it up. I told her no. I will never consider putting that on my walls, but I appreciate the thought. She started crying, said I'm an ungrateful asshole, and she took the painting and said she will hang it up at her place. She said her friend's boyfriend loves the one he got, so she can't get why I'm being such a jerk about this. I don't think I'm a jerk for not wanting an, albeit artistic, nude of my girlfriend on my walls. Next story is AITA for telling my mom it's time to lawyer up. My mom moved in with after she sold her home to avoid medical bankruptcy. Things have been rocky because my mom was always my house, my rules type of person. I have an older brother, Scott, who helped my mom with home repairs, but Scott and my wife do not get along, so he doesn't come over much. Me and my wife went away for a weekend getaway, and Scott and my mom repainted our living room white. It was navy with built-in bookcases and pantry. The job was done so shitty, and the original paint job with the bookcase cost us thousands to remodel. My wife started crying, and my mom and brother said they wanted to brighten the place up for my mom. I didn't know this at the time, but my wife called my SIL, my wife's brother wife, who is a lawyer, and the contractor who originally did the work on our living room remodel. My wife is getting ready to press suit against my mother and Scott and has already handed my mom legal eviction notice. It's deserved, and I back it 100% because this paint job was done so shitty and without the homeowner's permission. My mom is saying with an eviction for property damage, she will not be able to find a place, and my wife needs to stop. My wife has installed cameras in the home and is getting the court orders in place for my mom and brother. My wife's family is paying for this, and at this point I'm afraid to say shit because I feel like if I protest too much the big divorce will come, and with my wife's SIL as a lawyer, I don't want to mess with the situation because it's a shit show. My brother told me my mom has rights, and I said I guess it's time for my mom to lawyer up on her dime because I'm not touching this and it's my wife's lawyers pushing things through. I did sign off on the lawsuit and possible criminal charges coming. My mom said she would contest the eviction, and I need to man up and make my wife do the right thing and drop the eviction and lawsuit.